and welcome to the first ever episode of This Might Get Real. This is our second podcast every week where Grace and I dissect all the delicious reality TV that we can't get enough of. This week, things are getting salty at the reunion #1 of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We're talking Monica. We're talking Mary. We're talking for a long time about it. And we're also discussing the season premiere of Drag Race. It's the dawn of a new day, and we've got 6 new queens that we are already obsessed with, and some other thoughts. 7 new queens. Grace just told me from off camera.
This might get weird.
Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Well, then cheers, Grace Helbig.
Cheers, Mamrie Hart.
Y'all, it is the inaugural, first ever This Might Get Real app. Woohoo!
Ooh, what a clever, catchy title.
I love that we're so like treated from when this was a web series, when it would be like every single day was a different title.
Yes.
What's the umbrella we can shove everything under?
Yeah, this might get real. Which is very exciting.
Yes.
And thank you also, because I feel like 1,000 people recommended This Might Get Real as a title when we first started talking about this months ago.
I've heard like various things. And you know what? I did brainstorm for a while there of like reality and this and that.
Everything's taken.
And then I was like, you know what? If you're going to have a catchy little title about tea for a reality podcast, then you've probably already been on Drag Race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like, let's just keep it real.
You have actual knowledge of tea behind the scenes that we do not have access to.
The only tea we have is I'm sipping on an Earl Grey, and you've got, I'm assuming, a green.
Yes, I have a delicious green tea in here, and thank you guys so much for letting us know what tea girl means on our last episode of our regular podcast.
Yes, we are always here to learn open ears, so we appreciate when we are corrected and redirected. But you guys, this is so exciting. We have thought about doing this for like a hot minute, because what would happen is on our Wednesday...
That minute's got a fever. It's been hot for a while.
It truly, longest minute of my life, which is something my dad said when he told me the one time he ate mushrooms. He said he said that night lasted 12 years.
That's how it goes.
But so we, on our regular podcast, I feel like we go into TV quite a bit, but then there's always this moment, mainly me, because I'm neurotic, where I'm like, this isn't a TV podcast. We got to reel it back and talk about weirder stuff.
I do sometimes feel like both of us we start walking, but it's like we have kid leashes on us that pull us back in when we start to get into reality TV, which, is truly how I spend a bit too much of my free time.
I'd say it's both of our biggest hobby.
Truly biggest hobby. When I think about the art that I expose myself to the most, it is reality television. And honestly, during chemo, watching reality TV became much more important in a deeper way than it ever had before. And also, I just consumed so much reality TV. Yeah. So it feels nice to actually now have a little bit of space to get some thoughts out about the stuff that I've just been sitting at home absorbing for myself.
Well, it's such, of all mediums, it is such escapism because look, we'll tell you more about it, but we're going to cover all facets. Obviously, we are Bravo bitches.
Big Bravo bitches.
Triple B's, baby.
Yeah.
Big Bravo ladies. We're BBLs.
Yeah,
Isn't that the ass implant?
Yes, that we'll talk about on Drag Race.
Should that be the podcast name? Just the BBLs? Just kidding. But we're going to go kind of all over the place from Drag Race to Housewives. I might do like a little offshoot about Southern Charm, or you might do an offshoot of a show.
Which is going crazy right now. Southern Charm is going nuts right now. They're about to do their reunion.
Well, I'm excited about it because also,
we can talk about that when that comes up.
But it's really fun because here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'll say this in general.
Yeah.
I feel like because of Scandival, all the other shows are stepping their pussies up.
Yeah, people have clocked into work on these programs. They know what the audience wants, and they are checking some boxes and calling some bingo numbers.
Absolutely, because on Southern Charm, it's not the scandal of Tom. No. But there is some real fucked up crossover shit that went down. Yeah. Okay? And maybe I'll do a little sidebar of that one.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But so we're going to do Bravo, but we're also going to do Survivor.
Yeah.
Bachelor.
I'm so excited that you're into Survivor now.
It has changed my life.
Elliot and I have been super into it. And, you know, Hannah originally got us into it at the start of the pandemic. So it's so nice that it's spread a little further.
Well, I remember we did a live stream where we, you know, it was in pandemic. We were raising money for No Kid Hungry.
Yeah.
And Hannah... we all sign on before we're supposed to do it, and I'm like full Michelle Visage with a fake cleavage, all that jazz, and Hannah just shows up just with a bandana on. She's like, I'm Survivor.
Is this enough?
We said, rub some dirt on yourself. Go get like an idol.
She ran outside and literally rubbed dirt on her face.
We love it. But so we are going to put the calendar up so you guys can almost have like a homework assignment. Where
are we putting it?
Well, I feel like we should put it on our Instagram because this podcast is for everyone.
Yes, that is true. Yeah. Okay. Guys, we just had a business meeting before we started this to talk through our schedules and to get everything on track. And so my brain is like wheels. Where's that going? What's going? What are we announcing?
This is how sad it is that Grace and I are always so disorganized that I came to the back and printed off the next 3 months like calendar just from Google Image. And I thought, look at this fucking businesswoman.
I couldn't believe that. I came in. You told me that you're like, what if we got together to talk through everything and like printed out calendars? And I showed up and they were printed out. Yeah. And I was like, I thought that was just like a suggestion of something businessy we could do.
I mean, it's so bad that I almost texted you to go, will you stop by Staples on the way here and grab a big calendar? And then I thought, wait a second. I have access to a printer.
Yes.
I'm a grown woman.
Yes.
So I think that'll be obviously.
Yeah, we'll put up, because as these shows go, I mean, we're going to talk about them through their seasons. So it'll probably be some weeks where we talk about the same 2 shows or 3 shows every week. But it feels nice to have a little bit of structure. I'll tell you that.
I mean, who knew?
Who knew it'd be reality TV that was the catalyst for it?
That finally made us get our shit together. But for this week.
Yeah, as you probably know by the title.
We are talking about the first reunion episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, in addition to the Drag Race season 16 premiere.
Yeah. And honestly, like, we were trying to figure out our schedule for all of this, and the impact of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City finale really made me want to be like, we got to start now. We got to talk about this.
I agree.
This is too major, what's happening on this program, on this network, at least from my opinion, my point of view, that we got to talk about it.
Right.
It's big.
Normally we will, at least thus far, what we think, we will go from premiere to finale when discussing shows. Obviously, some weeks we'll be like, not much happened on this episode, so let's focus on a different show. But we thought, no, I'm sorry. But when Heather Gay came out with receipts, screenshots, text messages, DNA, stool samples, when she came out with that, we thought, you know what? Let's jump in.
Yeah, I mean, truly. Well, let's just jump into it. Okay. Let's start with Salt Lake City.
Let's do it.
Because this season, to me, I think I texted you after watching the first episode being like, you got to watch Salt Lake this season.
Because I skipped last season.
Yeah. And I was like, there's a new girl on it and I don't know where it's going, but something feels important about this season. This season has been such a blend of high camp, like truly high camp, of like, are you kidding me? A sound bath meditation and these 2 adult women are scream whispering insults at each other. Like, producers couldn't ask for a better like tension of opposites happening. That the finale only escalated it, like the whole time. And someone pointed this out on Instagram, that I think the success of the finale was because most of the season, the content of it was under wraps. Like cast members weren't teasing to the finale through the course of the whole season, which is true. Like, no one knew. Everyone saw that Heather gets this phone call and pushes production out of her room, but no one could figure out exactly what that is. And people were finding all the receipts from Monica through the season of being like, she's suing Heather or countersuing and Heather's suing her. So it's got to be this, but no one really put it together.
Well, I wonder, again, to harken back to Scandival.
Yeah.
And like, we were watching that in real time. And also people were on their social like crazy. I don't think network wise, because clearly it makes sense for Bravo to go, promote, go crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's already in the edit. Go wild.
Yeah.
We're not going to like hold your hand or slap your wrist if you tease something, as long as it isn't a spoiler. But since that was happening in real time, it's almost like they didn't have, like, the kids were loose.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if now leading into other shows, they fully go, I'm sorry, NDA.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, you can't let this slip because it's not happening in real time and they're already edited.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've seen like other housewives will be, I mean, you saw, oh my gosh, Housewives of Orange County, the housewife that's on there from Beverly Hills this last season.
Yes.
Oh, what's her name? That
I don't remember.
That
Teddy?
she got recorded like walking out of a bar being like, you gotta watch the finale. It is so...
Kelsey Grammer's ex.
No, not her. No, but...
Oh, yes, duck lips.
Yes.
She's got some duck lips. Yeah, you can't... so I wonder with this... It feels so under wraps that it didn't slip what it is. Because when I saw that clip, Grace, I don't know about you, but this whole time I go, oh, they didn't realize that Monica was an informant.
Well, that's my question is I'm going, wait, who's they? The cast members or the
cast
production?
members.
Yeah.
I thought it was a call going, dude, you're not going to believe this. She's the one who ratted out Jen Shaw.
Yeah.
That's what I thought the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I had the tip off from the accounts that I follow of like Bravo bitches and whatever on Instagram that there was lawsuits between Heather and Monica on Beauty Lab stuff, related stuff.
Yes.
So I thought it was going to be that, but I didn't realize like how deep it went. Here's my question to you. Do you think production knew that she was associated with this account?
Okay. This is what I wanted to get into so badly because here's the deal. It's like, yes, she was affiliated with Jen Shaw. So obviously casting her on the show is like keeping a ring closer to Jen Shaw, and it's not just like a random. You know what I mean? However, based on the women on this show, I feel like there is a plethora of characters in Salt Lake City to choose from.
Yeah.
So I feel like choosing her, who already like doesn't have the same status money wise, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like this was very creative casting and they knew all along.
Yeah, that's okay. So I'm torn, right? Is that I feel like they must have known. They had to have known. Like there's got to be some connection that they could have found out. But also, you know, they had people like Jenny on seasons before that had a lot of racist like posts online that came out, and then they had to go back and re-edit her like out of the finale.
Yikes.
So they've made the mistake. So you would think that they would do their due diligence after making the mistake of not really background checking previous cast members, of going further. So there's part of me that's like, I want to believe that they knew, and that they like, from a producing standpoint, regardless of the morality of the situation between these human beings, from a producing standpoint, like that's high drama.
They did it. I mean, like I said, everyone is stepping their pussy up post Scandival.
Yeah.
And they are going to put in some grenades.
Yeah.
And I think casting knew it. I think first of all, during the reunion, when she was like, how did you even get cast on this? And she was like, I emailed them and I said, your show sucks. Their ratings are shit. And it's because it's not cast. And then the editors put up the actual email she sent, which couldn't have been more like textbook kind.
Hi.
I feel like she could have absolutely used it as bait to go, by the way, I secretly hate these women.
Yeah.
And can absolutely pretend like I don't.
Yeah. I mean, part of her charm is her like blatant contradiction of everything that she says versus does. And it's psychologically very obvious to see the connection between her mother and her behavior.
No shit.
Obviously.
I mean a direct line.
That could be said to all the cast members of all of these
people.
programs.
No, totally.
Most human beings in general. But it was interesting that they showcased her mother so much this season. I mean, they really filled out her narrative so that it is like a bait and switch.
What a conniving woman. I will say, I have to.
You have to.
She looked great at the reunion.
Best one.
She is on her like, you know, she knows she's the villain, so she's going, I'm at least gonna be fucking hot as a villain.
So Bravo releases, okay, the reunions, like you guys all know, because you're listening to this.
Yeah.
These are our Super Bowls. All right. We all sit and we wait for the seating chart to come out, which I've started to look at now.
Really? Like before?
It's in my algorithm that it will. They'll post it because everyone sits and waits and makes bets on like who's getting first
closest
chair
to Andy.
next to Andy. So it's basically like who's in what position on the field, who's the starting line,
who's starting, who's on the bench.
And on Twitter, people were saying she got the first segment of the reunion, which I guess is a technical high praise
However,
moment.
coming off of that finale, there's no way they were going to be like, so how was Trixie Mattel?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they have to go with it, or everyone would be like, this is bullshit on Twitter.
Well, I will. So other, in addition to that, people, they'll drop their first looks at their looks for the reunion.
Oh.
And everyone, man, the comments on these first looks were ruthless and hysterical, because I don't know what it is about Salt Lake City. Maybe we all kind of know what it is about Salt Lake City, but their fashion is so confusing to me.
Yeah.
Everyone looked like they were going to prom in New Jersey in 2007. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, there's a lot. Whitney loves a lime green.
That's so
chartreuse even.
I loved Monica's look the best because usually they give them themes for what to wear for the reunions. So what they'll do, from what I've understood, is that like they'll say it's all gold or something, and so each, like, I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this theme would have been, but Whitney's dress in particular, that hemline confused me so much that it looked like she originally had like a long dress and got stuff on it, and then like they cut half of it off the bottom, and I'm like, Whitney's so beautiful that I'm like, how is she wearing this right now? It is confusing to me as someone that only wears sweatshirts every day.
But even in addition to the dress, which Monica's dress had like a lot of leg, it was very
great.
It was very Jessica Rabbit in a good way.
Yeah.
But she also like her
face
looked less puffy. Like she looked good.
She looked like she did not lose any sleep over any of these women.
She got all the sleep and lost 5 pounds.
Yeah, I was like, she looks snatched, as they say.
Absolutely. But no, she looked great. I think she was a plant. I don't think that'll come out. However, oh man, I should have researched this before we started this podcast.
Okay.
There's new tea about Heather.
Oh, really?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to hear more from, is it Tanisha, yeah. Tanisha, who is the biggest double agent out there.
Yeah, that she had a crisis of conscience is what Heather said, and just like revealed everything to her.
That person has been near your head with scissors for years.
Someone said, is it harder to believe that this is a plant or that Heather has a black hair stylist? I was like, I didn't even make that connection. I forgot who Tanisha was.
Absolutely. But so I think she's a plant. But also, can we please just talk about the rumors?
The room. Like, Meredith, for what it's worth, has a sense of humor about, like, I saw her on Twitter, like, making fun of herself, like live tweeting episodes. And I was like, okay, whoever told her to do that is smart.
I think she has the benefit of having a funny gay son.
Yeah.
That can go like, Mom, milk this. Like, Twitter's loving this. Or like, pull back on this. Or 100%. Make some merch that says the husband.
Also, right. They all know what they're doing because they're all looking for that branding moment that they can monetize after the season's
because
done.
Lala did it so well. Yeah. Because it was send it to Daryl or whatever. Who knows how much money she made.
And also, Meredith, doesn't she have a law degree or a background as an attorney or something? So I feel like she's very choice with her words, so she can be like, I never said that. This is what I actually said.
She's very good at disengaging when legally it could get a little squirrely.
That's what I mean. I feel like she is very select with her words. Also, I watched this on Peacock for the first time. Usually I watch it on like Amazon or something, and it's uncensored.
I know.
I've never watched a reunion where it's just like fucks being thrown around everywhere. I was like, this has impact in a way.
And this is the least F-bomb dropping franchise.
Really?
Well, because, like some of them are religious.
Well, that's why I think in general is what's so fascinating about Salt Lake City.
Yes.
There is not another franchise that consistently talks about religious trauma or the underlying kind of religious trauma that infuses all of their lives, present and past, but also handled with such camp at the same time that I'm like, this is fascinating.
By the way, 2 nights ago when I spent the night in Palm Springs, but your parents had arrived, I stayed in a hotel that was beside the Trixie Motel. Oh, and let me tell you, my first thoughts were just picturing Whitney in drag. Like
their drag looked really rough.
Yeah, it was just Monica in really bad drag defending the ring. Let's talk about the ring.
Let's talk about the ring.
There are rumors.
The rumors and the nastiness.
The nastiness. There are nasty.
You want me to go there with the husband?
I'll go there. The rumor that Monica pocketed the ring. Mm-hmm. Initial gut feeling. What do you think?
No, my feeling is, that's an easy like connection to make. Yeah. I think if they're shooting it slightly chronologically, I think she's so new to the cast that that's a bold thing to do.
I agree. Unless, and I'm throwing it out there, I'm not at all placing blame on it.
Yeah.
Unless if she was in on this with the producers from the get-go, which, again, I have no idea if that's real because I also know just from like other experiences in reality TV and friends who are producers in different spaces, there is a genuine like friendship and trust you have to develop with your producer.
Especially over the years that these women have been on the shows, especially the longer standing franchises, like those like Kyles and whatever that have been doing it for 13 years, they have like close relationships with these producers.
Absolutely. But is there a world where the ring was pocketed by a producer?
I don't know. These are all the questions that make it dramatic television.
I know.
It is.
I'm just saying, how do you lose a ring in a bathroom and it just absolutely, unless you flush it?
I just don't know how someone wears a $60,000 ring to begin with. That's why these shows are fascinating me, because Lisa Barlow is a human that I think I have some things in common with, and so many things not in common with.
The only thing I have in common with her is the love of tequila
and Wendy's.
She does love Wendy's.
She loves fast food and she eats like a 11-year-old, and that's what I have in common with her. But I think she also she is interesting to me because she's one of those people that I think she thinks she's in on the jokes about herself.
She has no idea.
But she's really, I don't think, in on the jokes about herself.
No, I think Meredith knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
I think Lisa goes like, oh, they like that? Okay, I'll do it again.
Because that's what everyone's calling her out on her self-awareness. Like Whitney's like, you're not self-aware. She's like, I am very self-aware. I'm the most self-aware. Like, it's almost like in a Trump sort of thing, which is what that's what everyone was like. Monica just called her a Trump supporter in the finale episode.
Oh, see, I didn't know if it was a Trump supporter or she was making fun of her self-tanner.
Oh, maybe it was that. It was that. I don't know. But also, did you see it all in the finale? At one point, like they pull away and you can see the scope of the production. Like I love when they break the fourth wall and you can actually see
Bermuda with snow.
But also that, the amount of cameras that they had lined up on one side of the table while all the women have moved to the other side of the table and Monica's just by herself on this one side. I was like, this is insane. This looks like a congressional hearing right now.
It's perfect. You can tell that Andy is a pig in shit right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because who knows? I don't know what the ratings were for Salt Lake season 2.
Right.
You know, when you still had Jen, but like the pending thing. I mean, what other franchise do you have that has this big of a villain reveal and it's like, and she's not even the one who's in federal prison?
I know. That's what I'm saying. This is why we needed to start recording these episodes, because this, for what it's worth, I think is breaking boundaries of reality TV, because it was always very interesting when they started to talk about the fourth wall and take it down and would talk about and they would film people running out of scenes and like taking their mic off and having hot mic moments. They're like, great, I love that we get the scope that this is a show. Now to have like a mole in a way, infiltrate, and also for social media to become such a pillar of importance to the way these women live after shows air.
Yeah, they redirect their life and the way they're going to react to things based on how social media is reacting.
Yeah, I love too in the finale just the amount of interactions Angie had with reality Von Teese. I also love that Heather's sincerity of being like, hey, yo, reality Von Teese. And I'm like, that is so unserious.
I know. I mean, the way they set up her on the beach with the wind, which I love. Meredith is posting on Instagram, like, you know, her with the hair, the Botticelli, like the full, you know, like old school painting. But the way they set it up, because I'm going to tell you, I started watching the first like 4 episodes of this season.
Yeah.
And then I kind of fell off during Palm Springs just because I was like, this is the same fight with Meredith every week.
Yeah.
And I don't think they understand how great Trixie is. And it's starting to offend me. Like they don't get it. And I also feel like, oh my God, okay, 2 thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll get through this, but 2 thoughts. One, I kind of fell off. And then when I saw the preview for this, I went back and I caught up.
Yeah.
But from the preview, I truly thought she was going to be like, she is Jen Shah's sister, and she was the one who did the fraud, and then like that. Yeah. Not a website I'd never heard of, or an Instagram account I never heard of. And then second of all, here's another little conspiracy theory that's probably not real.
Okay.
What if casting brought on Monica, knowing that she was a mole and a plant and all that jazz, but not sure how she was going to play on camera. Right. And so that's why they brought on Mary at the beginning and then let her kind of piece out. Because they were like, Mary is like safety footage.
Yeah. Yeah. Like almost. Mary's like
she had no reason to be there.
Absolutely none. Though the previews for her in the reunion next week seem great because Andy just asked her straight up, who do you like on these couches?
She likes no one. She didn't even know her son was married.
Her house, the interior design, all of it is just endlessly fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she does say in the reunion clip I saw that she does like Monica. She thinks she's pretty.
Does? Well, that's the thing. I think Mary, you can get away with being like an absolute cunt if you're the prettiest. I think Mary Cosby wants the shiny thing.
Yeah.
So there was a minute there where Whitney was the shiny thing.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Then she was always just like, I don't like Heather because she didn't think like Heather's looks.
She says the meanest things.
The meanest things.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting too, is that there is the debate on Monica being like, I stood up for the wrong things that I saw Jen doing and none of you women did.
Oh, so she was an informant. Well, that I think is part of the, again,
because she's saying
the Heather stuff that I didn't research, that people are saying that Heather knew the fucked up shit that Jen Shah was doing for so long.
Right, with the black eye, with everything, with like keeping that quiet and And
she kept her mouth shut when Monica, who also worked for her, or was her friend or whatever it is the one who actually actively informed the CIA. And so it becomes, I don't know if CIA is the right word, FBI, I'm not sure, but it becomes, oh, you actually saw something that was wrong happening and reported it. Congrats. Or does it become you're a snitch and you only did that because there's probably blood on your hands that like is now you're not going to get charges for?
You can spin it both ways because she was saying, I think in the reunion, something to the effect of the account was started to out Jen, like specifically. And then I guess, I don't know. I haven't looked at the account at all. I have no context for what.
Is it still up and posting actively?
I have no idea. But I have zero context for the things that they did say about like all the cast members and how, hateful it got for them. I just love that Angie K is in the DMs being like, clap hands, clap hands. But I will give Angie K credit that Trampoline with Eyes is such a funny read. She called Meredith a trampoline with eyes and then said it's because your skin's so tight.
Is that what it was? I know she said it's a compliment.
Yeah, she said it's a compliment because your skin is so taut.
I mean, if I was Meredith right now, I would change every avatar to a trampoline with like, you know that filter where the eyes are big and the mouth is big? I would just do that on a trampoline and give commentary. What a great, I love that compliment.
It's so silly. It's so stupid.
If you got someone on a trampoline, you're like, no, because you're so tight, you're bouncy, you're jovial with like a hint of danger. I loved it. Okay, I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, and also they're in like a huge, and I think everyone is eager to see like what do they do with casting next season, because literally like it's very clear on the internet that everyone can't deny how entertaining Monica was, but it's also like these women have given interviews at BravoCon too. I've watched some of that stuff.
Okay.
Where none of them were with Monica. They were all like in little groups amongst themselves.
Well, they said at the reunion, Andy said, no, you all haven't been together. And she was like, well, they have, just not me.
Yeah. And people were asking them questions on like red carpets and stuff of being like, so have you guys like all been together? Have you seen Monica? Why is no one with Monica? And they give these very vague, you can tell at that point, you're like, oh, I think they're not allowed to say anything. This is pre-finale airing.
But that's what I'm saying is because I feel like they have so many more guardrails and like legal paperwork to not fuck it up, because you compare that to Vanderpump Rules and people are being like, Tom should blah blah blah, I saw him hanging out with so and so last night, you know, it was real time.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm excited. Woo! I think Monica will 1,000% be on next season.
Yeah. I mean, if they keep Mary as like a Monica like buddy, like I don't know, unless I'm trying to think of like they'd have to bring someone else on that's the liaison between like the main cast. Oh yeah.
What if they brought on Tanisha?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That would be interessante.
Very interesting. I don't know. I'm eager to see, and I will watch what they're going to do.
Well, as they say, watch what happens. Okay, now let's do a little bit of a chat about the Drag Race season 16 premiere, which, by the way, you got sent a box with a hoodie of the RuPaul
and a
season.
t-shirt with all the queens on it.
Oh, you
I know. I almost wore it today, but I didn't.
You know what'd be a good design, although they'd get sued? All the queens, but you know that the Taylor Swift eras?
Yeah. It kind of looks like that. It's a little, but not like specifically.
Not enough to get
it's
sued.
just they're all in boxes. Okay, Raid a Queen was the name of the premiere episode, season 16. I will say, general vibe, excellent premiere episode. I was entertained by every queen. There wasn't a dud queen there for me. I was like, these are all great queens. This got me excited.
This got me excited too. I feel like there's some real talent there.
Yeah.
I feel like it feels more like a throwback. I do have some questions about the structure of this season.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I probably don't have answers.
I know you don't. I know. I just have to voice them. With immunity that hasn't been there since either 3 or 5, not sure which.
Yes, my little Tim, I was talking to him about it. He said it got taken away because Alyssa Edwards did the worst Katy Perry impression of all time. Like to the point that Rue said, "Have you ever kissed a girl before?" And Katy Perry was like, "No, that's gross."
Oh my God. Well, I just have a question about how it works because, and obviously I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Because we've been watching so much Survivor.
Right.
2 questions.
Yeah.
1. With immunity, does it get handed out every week? Because if every winner can get immunity and you can pull it out whenever, this season takes twice as long.
I think that's wrong. I think I misspoke before when I was talking about it. I think it's that you can only use it the following week.
Or so she is immune next week, the winner.
I believe so.
Okay, because my question was, is every week they're going to vote for themselves and who gets off? Because if that becomes the case and people have immunity, then it would be like playing an immunity idol on Survivor. Like, do you go, man, I really fucked up the acting challenge, but I have immunity from 3 weeks ago.
Right.
I'm going to play it because I think all these bitches are coming for me. Or even like, I'm doing so well, I think they're coming for me. Yeah. So I have to play it.
I don't know.
Here's what I think it might be. I think it might be, granted, this is different because it's a split premiere.
Yeah.
It could be, we're going to announce who won the challenge this week. You're immune from voting tonight. If they keep the voting, I don't like them voting for each other.
Me either.
I hate it.
Because that's what they do on All Stars, is that they choose the lipsticks. Yeah. And that, I get
but that's
the
out
drama.
Of the last 2, right?
Huh?
With the lipsticks on All Stars, these are the bottoms too. Yeah. Not just vote from like top to bottom pyramid.
Right. Yeah. This, because they brought in like The Circle. Have you ever watched The Circle? That's kind of how that show works. So I was like,
love The Circle.
Yeah. So that's how I was like, oh, they're doing like The Circle where they all rate each other.
We got to add The Circle into our mix.
Yeah. I haven't watched it in a bit.
Oh God.
I know. But, I was like, oh, they're just blatantly taking from other reality
shows that work. I know.
And I don't know if I like it because it does give you the opportunity to create this alternative strategy that isn't based on who's the best queen.
That's what I'm saying. Like in Survivor, it works, but you're also...
Because that's part of the game.
Strategy is part of the game. And also you're dealing with like the elements and who's going hungry and who's like providing for the camp. With this, if it's like this, it's just so much cattiness in the workroom. Mm-hmm. And I I want people to win or be kicked off based on their performance.
And their art, and like Survivor is not about them being talented at art.
It's just about surviving.
Yeah.
But with this one, I'm like, look, Michelle Visage and Carson and Rue, like, you guys know the history. We talked about this a little on the regular podcast. You guys know the history of drag. Yeah. And like, there are going to be some young queens who might not appreciate someone else's performance and they don't get it. Mm-hmm. But that performance is an homage to something that's like so inherently drag and historical that like you need the judges to judge that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Someone else would go up and be like, I don't get this reference.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious if that's going to be how it is every week or if that's just how they're doing it in the beginning of it. Well, because this one is also called Rate a Queen. So is it Rate a Queen just because that's the first thing they're doing on this season and they're going to go let the judges kind of
hope so
dictate it?
Well, I really hope so. We will only see, but let's talk about the queens themselves.
Yes. First and foremost, a mandatory meeting.
That's the best name of all time.
I was like, even Elliot, who was watching sort of with me, started crying laughing. I was like, yeah, that's so. I'm like, how is no one had that name?
Amanda Tori Meeting.
So good.
It's so good.
It feels like old school drag.
Yes.
I know what that is. I mean, I'm just saying, I feel like the pun names were, when I first started getting into Drag Race and that entire universe, like the puns were the primary feature.
Well, and when you look at the lineup for this season, it's the only, as far as I can tell, the only pun name. And so when you and I or whoever goes, oh, that'd be a good drag name. Yeah. That's the thought we're going through. Yeah. Now it's like it's like almost like a slot machine. Yeah. Where it just says like classy name, sexy name. It'll just be like, the name is Emerald's Cleavage Sophisticato. Yeah. I don't know. It's just like, no, I like my queens funny. Yeah. But that's just my preference.
No, I love that name. I thought it was so fun. I think she is so fun. And she's got this like charming, and I mean this like with love, like airhead quality, like just like a sweetheart, like happy-go-lucky, I think is a better, less like rude way to describe that. I love a mandatory meeting. Obviously, we've already said we're Dawn fans because not only because Dawn has said she's a fan of us
and might be listening to this, and Dawn, we're going to need you to come on the show. But that's another fun thing about this podcast is we might actually have like guests every once in a while. Who knows? Possibilities are endless. But Dawn, when we talked on Wednesday, I was so excited because we were going to do this. So my homework assignment was to watch the Drag Race premiere. Yeah. And again, I was there with bated breath, like, I hope it's good. I hope it's good. And I thought she did fantastic.
Well, Dawn, when they did the ring photo shoots,
the best.
And Rue said, who would you vote for? And she said, not you. And she got the Rue cackle.
So a true laugh.
Everyone is already speculating that Dawn, that's a check on the winner's edit sort of bingo card.
Oh, well, because Rue loves a funny queen. And I really think, well, we'll talk about Q too, but I really think they're painting Dawn as a funny, and like Dawn chased the neighbor.
Yeah, it was
and
great.
Said she had bacon in her purse.
Just silly.
I absolutely loved it. I'm rooting for Dawn for sure. Also, I enjoy the beautiful, beautiful gowns, but I also love the weird long ass sleeves and gloves.
Yeah,
and
she's got a little bit of Willow Pill.
A lot of Willow.
I thought that they might be sisters, mother, daughter.
I thought they'd maybe be from the same house. You know who else is, and I'm blanking on the name right now, and they also were fans from back in the day that Rue would always say they looked like DeBarge.
Crystal Method.
I
love Crystal
Method is the best.
They do the
Crystal
same lips.
follows us on Instagram.
Yes.
Hey, Crystal.
Love Crystal.
Yeah, they do the same vibe, and there's also the weird element. I thought maybe she was from the house of Crystal Method.
Yeah, that's true. She's a little Brooklyn baby though.
Brooklyn baby.
But she's from Raleigh.
What?
Yeah, she was originally from Raleigh. Sorry, Dawn, I've done a little bit of research.
I saw that she said she was headlining Pride and Raleigh. Yeah. And I thought, that's so random. Yeah. I want to go.
Yeah, someone had messaged me being like, you got to let Mamrie know that Dawn is originally from Raleigh.
Maybe that's when we'll finally get on a float.
Yeah. See, this podcast is already producing gifts, unlike the other one.
We have had a dream to be on a parade float together for years, and now this might actually make it Sorry, real.
Yeah. Mirage, we have from Vegas.
Yes.
Who reminded me, obviously, you make the Anitra connection.
Of course. Doesn't have the same personality as Anitra. Is a lot... Anitra is a lot shyer, but the dance moves.
Clack, 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 clack. Wow. I was like... That's how I would do it accidentally.
Right.
If I was asked to do a dance like that.
That's what I would do to break an ankle.
Yeah, that was like satisfying to listen to. Like, I hate ASMR, but for some reason I was like, ooh, I feel like my back just like loosened up a little bit.
It felt like you were watching a chiropractic video on TikTok and you're like, I felt that in my spine. What I loved about that performance is, and this is a little inside baseball, is that Ru kept mentioning a dancer she loved at Jumbo's Clown Room, which is a place we used to frequent when we first came to LA. And we I think we should do a post-cancer clown room.
I loved it. One of my favorite memories from Jumbo's Clown Room is that Greg from Dharma and Greg was there.
He was always there. I've only been to Jumbo's Clown Room, I think 4 times. He was there twice.
He was just by the jukebox by himself, but talking to every dancer as they got off the stage. I was like, look at him. Okay.
For you guys listening who don't know what it is a bar in Hollywood where they have dancers, they have a stage, they have a pole, but they don't get topless.
No. And
do they even go to pasties, or is it just sexy dancing?
It's like, at least from what I remember seeing, it's just like sexy dancing. And some of it is like really stupid and like funny. And like, I remember someone came out in like Lakers garb with like a basketball and did this whole like jock jam style dance. And I was like, this is so fun.
It's almost like the humor of a lot of burlesque, but actual like acrobatic pole dancing. We should go, but I want to go at like 5. I want to go where like it's the time of day it would be sad to be at a quasi strip club. However, I just need space and like 1 beer.
Yes.
Oh,
but
man.
I loved Mirage. I think she's very charming and very endearing, and interested to see. Like, I love that she's got this like trashy I shop at like Claire's meth head type of like thing.
Enjoy it. Okay, Safira Cristal, who won this episode.
That opera singing.
Well, I love when people come with like the legit talent. Yes. Here's what I'll say. Mm-hmm. She can break that out one more time. I hope it doesn't become. No, I hope it doesn't become like this is what I do all the time. Like, obviously there will be a singing challenge. Which is always a little more like just kind of rappy. Here we go. You can work around it. Yeah. But it's nice to come out of the game and be like, I have a legit talent. I also saw that Katya.
Yeah, I saw
and
the
her
tweet
have been
too.
friends forever, and was like, "Get it, Safira. We've been doing shows together for 1,000,000 years." So I automatically go, "Oh, well, then I love Safira."
Yeah, of course. That's a great credibility right there.
Also, Safira gives good interview talking head.
Yes, she's got narrator edit kind of going right now. Everyone speculates about that, but also, so the talent show stuff. Everyone is like, we've seen original song with choreography. You gotta figure out a different spin on it. And Safira's was such a breath of fresh air of being like, oh, you're taking your sincerely beautiful talent and making it stupid.
Yes.
Amazing.
She does need some bigger titties though.
Yeah. I thought the same thing, and Michelle called it out. I was like, okay, yeah. As someone who has recently exposed her tits to so many medical professionals, I was like, they seem a little close.
Yeah, Safira is a broad gal, and I was like, what are those pudding cups? Why do we attach 2 pudding cups and call them boobies?
Okay, then we have Morphine Love Dion.
Well, here's the thing. Oh, no.
Or do not want to move on yet.
Oh, no. That's fine. I was just trying to keep up with, I have a list of stuff, and I'm like, oh, right, who actually was on the show or not?
Yeah, I was just kind of going down the contestants.
Well, I feel like you just said, a lot of them were, hey, I'm essentially just going to do a lip sync routine and show you my dance moves, except I recorded a song.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the ones that go out of the box, especially Q.
I love Q. Okay, look, I love me some Dawn. I love me some Q. Q's face is beautiful.
Q
the
is a cutie
of Q's face. I was just like sitting there staring, being like, that's such a beautiful drag queen.
So beautiful. Here's the thing is that Q in the talking head interview,
Yeah.
I thought like, oh no, is this mean girl energy? Am I not going to like this person? And then I was so surprised by the talent of the puppet show with the tiny feet.
I
thought,
loved it.
Wait a second. I'm obsessed with you.
Yes.
I did. That was the biggest curveball of the premiere for me.
That's what you do. If you can't sing, you can't dance.
Yeah.
You have to.
Well, I think they can all dance.
I'm sure they can do. And Q, who knows? We don't know this yet. I'm only speaking, I guess, from my own personal repertoire of what I would bring to this stage, which is no dancing, no singing. But that's the way that you take it and spin it on its head and do something that we've never seen that before.
No.
But I could watch that for like 15 minutes straight and be
I
like,
would
great.
go to a show and I would watch that for an hour. You know I love a puppet show.
It was great.
So
it was great.
It was just such a fun gag.
Yeah.
That was so original. I loved it. I want to know what Q stands for because I just think QAnon. You know
That's
what I mean?
Rue said. What's Q stand for? Queef?
Or Queef. Did Q answer?
I don't know.
Also,
Not that I
Q is
remember.
totally it's shaved head, right?
I believe
so. Maybe
so.
like she's a Q ball.
Maybe.
Who knows? I'm excited to get to know Q more. I think Q. I'll call it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to call it right now.
Do it.
Dawn, Q, Saphira, top 3.
We haven't even seen the other half of the cast. There's only 7 queens that they've announced. This is a split premiere.
Damn it. Well, I will say they are going to go far.
Yeah. So far, they had excellent starts. And I did see Dawn post on their story or somewhere that they, or on Instagram, that looking back at their performance, they wish they weren't that nervous and that they gave it better, but that they're proud that they like did the best they could in that moment. Well, and I was like, I thought you did great.
I read that before I watched it. And so I went in, Dawn, you should know this. I went in extra nervous for you because I didn't know, it was going to be a lip syncing challenge. I was like, oh no, what if Dawn comes out and like, does comedy or something and just completely gets goes up on her lines. So knowing that, I was like, oh, I actually didn't detect nerves whatsoever. But if you're a performer, you're going to always be like, I could have gone further.
Especially if you're a perfectionist and who knows how many months ago they actually filmed this. You know, I do not envy nor can understand the psychological chaos that goes on for filming that whole thing and then watching it back with the rest of the
everyone.
world.
I mean, Grace, when we did our last live tour, you talked about how you could never be a therapist because you can't hold on to like secrets and you'd want to tell everyone. However, I'm like, I don't think I could ever do reality TV in this way. Yeah. Because I would be like, I'll tell one person. I'll tell one person I won, or like I'll tell one person I get off on season 6. You know what I mean? Like I would not be able to keep it.
No, and then
I'd be in jail. I'd be in jail.
You'd owe them so much money.
So much money. Oh my gosh.
Okay, and then there's Tsunami. Is that how you say Tsunami Muse? Because it's with an
Tsunami.
X. But it's spelled with an X? I don't know.
I don't know if she pronounces
Tsunami?
Tsunami. Beautiful.
Legs.
I need to see more.
Yeah. Your Candy Muse's daughter. So that is a huge, I think they're Candy Muse's daughter. Yeah.
Hilarious.
So that's like it's big shoes.
That's a legacy. Yeah. Literally big shoes.
She looks like she got tiny feet.
Candy Muse looks like she shuffles like a little Betty Boop.
I love Candy Muse's walk. My brother and I have talked about it before. The way she walks with her mouth like slack jaw open a little bit. I love it.
Candy Muse loves to serve looks and breathe through her mouth.
Yes.
And I love Candy Muse and her crazy ass voice.
But this is that's a big legacy to come in under. So you really have to perform.
Also, it wasn't Q. Who was it? Was it Morphine? I'm still learning some of their names who look the same. Who isn't out to their family yet?
Morphine Love Dion, who got a BBL.
Yeah.
And
she was like, oh, it's all natural. Michelle was like, no, I know it's in your body and not padding, but that's not natural.
Yeah, that's wild. To come on the show, which I think has happened for queens before, where come on, and the family doesn't know until they watch this.
I mean, talk about nerve. We talk about how am I going to perform on the show, and oh God, how are my friends going to react to it? Versus like, I'm literally in waiting until my family realizes I'm on Drag Race.
The layers, my God, I don't know. But also, maybe this is the easier way to let them know. Like maybe they get to see how beautiful the community is and how successful you are in this like lane that you've chosen.
You go, look, I'm gay and I'm on this show and it premieres tomorrow. And then you get to be like, you're going to see exactly all the different facets of me, and also go on Twitter. Yeah. I'm only going to call it Twitter. Go on Twitter and see how much people love me too.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh, okay.
The only other thing that I'll say about the episode, Charlize is the most beautiful woman in the world. She looked incredible. Who knows what kind of lighting they have on that set? Who cares? She looked insane.
She is so beautiful. And also Charlize, to me, whenever I've heard an interview or seen her hanging out with folks, she's one of those celebrities, not even celebrity. She is a massive movie star. Yeah. Like I think there's a huge difference in celebrity and movie star. Mm-hmm. She is a movie star that I go, I'd hang out with you.
I've interviewed her.
You have?
For when I used to work for Attack of the Show, they flew me and a producer to London outside of England to interview her, Kristen Stewart, and Chris Hemsworth for Snow White. And she was so cool. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, 26, 7, 8 in that age range, still living in Brooklyn. And she was so cool. We were like filming at this castle that was a couple hours outside of London, I think. And they had all these tents set up. And so you have like 10 minutes with this person. Yeah. I've been flown all of these like 12 hours.
Like, don't fuck this up.
Yeah. And she couldn't have been cooler. And I just had that memory of walking in and seeing her and being like, she's the most stunning person in person I've ever seen. And I'm like, and she looked exactly the same. 10 years later on this show.
Even her...
I mean, yes, she has all the resources in the world to look a certain way.
But like, even though they're like, J'adore by Dior, that perfume ad, it's been running the same commercial for a decade, and she looked exactly in the workroom lighting like she does, covered in gold in a Dior commercial.
Yeah, so, incredible.
Oh, man. Well, I feel like this has been... quite the first episode.
Also, just to let everyone, the Break My Soul as the first lip sync song.
I'm sorry, they paid money.
They got a budget this season.
They paid money.
And it went there. I'm curious to see what the second half of the premiere song will be. You know, if that's the first half of the premiere, what did the second half of the Queens get as their lip sync song?
Well, they also, their guest judge is Becky G, who I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with, but I wonder if they'll do a Becky G song since she is the judge for that one.
That would make sense.
Also, where was this before MTV?
This bopped around. Logo. It was also...
They got MTV money now.
VH1. I think it was on too. Yeah.
Is VH1 even, does VH1 even exist?
I don't know.
But remember when they did the Streamies?
Yeah, Tyler and I hosted it.
That's fucking crazy.
Oh, man. Wow. Well, I'm excited for this season. I thought that was a great premiere. I got really excited about the Queens. And obviously, we have a personal interest vested in this.
Obviously. But listen up.
We're going to be real.
We're going to be real. If we don't like that week, we're not going to be, like sugarcoat it just because Dawn is a fan. However, we're very excited.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
we did it.
We did this. So, guys, if you are paying attention, next week we are going to be covering the same two shows, the second part of the reunion and Drag Race, before the following week where we weave in, I believe, the season premiere of The Bachelor. But so just so you know, if you're thinking of hopping on board, if you're listening to this and you have no idea what we're talking about, you've got some homework to do.
Yeah, watch TV with us. This is so fun.
This is so fun.
I am so excited to do my homework this week.
Right? Well, this got real.
Yeah.